So one of the things that has become pretty clear when it comes to the Trump Vance ticket is they know they have a big problem with women voters and the issue of abortion rights. And they are pretty freaked out about it, clearly, because just consider what Trump did the morning after Harris delivered her DNC address. He jumped onto Truth Social to boldly, I mean boldly, not in a good way, and falsely claimed that, quote, my administration will be great for women and their reproductive rights. Yes, this from the guy who constantly brags about killing Roe v. Wade. And then yesterday, in an interview with Meet the Press, his running mate, J.D. Vance, claimed that Trump is not at all going to do the thing that is so clearly written out in Project 2025. The thing some of Trump's strongest allies are pushing for, and the thing J.D. Vance himself even advocated for in 2022.
Senator Graham said to me, I'm going to keep saying that there should be a federal ban. If such a piece of legislation landed on Donald Trump's desk, would he veto it?
Well, I think it'd be very clear he would not support it. I mean, he said that explicitly.
It?
Yeah, I mean, if you're not supporting it as the president of the United States, you fundamentally have to veto it.
So he would veto a federal abortion ban?
I think he would. He said that explicitly, that he would.
There are a lot of things you could say about that back and forth and his answer, but I think Senator Elizabeth Warren said it best.
American women are not stupid, and we are not going to trust the futures of our daughters and granddaughters to two men who have openly bragged about blocking access to abortion for women all across this country.
Women are not stupid. And joining me now is Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. Senator Warren, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Good to see you.
I want to just start there and what J.D. Vance is now claiming. As you said, women aren't stupid. But I'm raising this because they're going to keep doing this, claiming that they are defenders of women's rights and abortion rights. And you are so good at many things, including succinctly giving people information. So how should people succinctly remind everyone out there what Trump and Vance actually stand for on abortion rights?
Okay, so let's start with, we all know what they're doing. They're just gaslighting us, right? And they think that we can't hear them when they talk to their radical base. So they go to the radical base. Trump did this just last week and bragged again about, I'm the guy that got rid of Roe versus Wade, right? He's the one that has now put us in this hole. And then he thinks he can turn around to the overwhelming majority of women and friends of women who think that what he has done is terrible. So here's the thing. I want to focus on where we are. You can almost laugh at what they've tried to do, except for the fact that 40% of all women in America now live in a state that effectively bans access to abortion. And that means that a woman, for example, can be in the middle of a miscarriage and she can go into an emergency room. She can be examined. The doctor can say, I know what it's going to take, the medical treatment you need, but you can't get it in this state because you're not near enough death. So please go out to the parking lot and hemorrhage for a while longer, hours, maybe overnight, and then come back in just before you're about to die. And we can perform the abortion that you need. We can give you the medication that you need. That's where 40% of the women in America live today. Those are our sisters, our cousins, our friends. And if Donald Trump and J.D. Vance take over the White House, make no mistake, it won't be 40%. It will be 100%. And the way they can do that, they don't even have to have a Republican Congress. They know this, and so does Project 2025 that has laid this out and said there's law right now on the books, the Comstock Act, which if you get a Donald Trump person over in the Department of Justice and they bring it in front of a Donald Trump judge, then it will be possible to effect an abortion ban all across this country. No medication abortion and no surgical abortions, because the actual instruments themselves cannot be sent through the mails, cannot be sent across state lines. So here's the deal. They've got their plan. They know what they intend to do. And Donald Trump knows that the only way he hangs on to his radical base is to follow through on that plan. But he thinks if he lies to us loud enough and long enough and sends J.D. Vance out there to lie to us, that somehow we're going to fall for it. And we're not going to notice that J.D. Vance sent a letter last year to the Department of Justice telling them to enforce that very law, the Comstock Act. So I got to say on this one, I go through all the nerdy details because they are important, because it matters what's happening to women across this country and the threats we face. But I also just want to say on this one, we will not be fooled here. People's lives are at stake. We are talking about access to abortion. We are talking about access to contraception. We are talking about access to IVF. And we do not believe as Democrats that the government should be making those decisions. We think that women should have the freedom to make those decisions with their doctors. And that's right there, the difference between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, between the Republicans and the Democrats.
We will not be fooled, I think, is a thing women should be saying out there across the country. Let me ask you, because about this debate about the debate, because when I talked to you the night that that Joe Biden decided he was no longer going to seek the nomination, you basically said that Trump is scared of a tough woman. A tough woman scares him. Do you think that's what's going on here?
Oh, I think Trump is really afraid of Kamala Harris, or as I like to think of it, the felon is really afraid of the prosecutor, and for damn good reason. She's smart, she's disciplined, and she's not afraid of a bully. So there it is. Donald Trump is scared, and I got to say, I think his whole team is scared. And that's why they're trying to find ways to muzzle him, to make this debate not happen if possible. Because Kamala Harris, she's going to wipe the floor with Donald Trump.
We do have to sneak in a very quick break. I have many more questions. Thank you for sticking with us. We'll be right back with Senator Elizabeth Warren. We are back with Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren. I wanted to play that because it was really moving to watch. And I think one of the reasons people were so passionate and you got the response you did is because you've been a champion of progressive economic policy for so long. And people in that room knew that. But you were quite overcome. What was it like in that moment? What was going through your head?
I felt so deeply grateful to be there. You know me, and you've known me for a long time. I've always been a total policy nerd, but I never thought I would have the chance to be in the fight and to be able to fight for so many important things and to be there with so many other people who are in that same fight. It really was overwhelming. Just amazing.
Policy nerds are important. We need policy nerds. I love them too. I consider myself one. Now, on that point, I think you've been an advocate for, we love policy nerds. You've been an advocate for so many important economic policies. They don't always get the attention they deserve. And one of them is affordable housing. And Vice President Harris put forward an ambitious plan. I would consider it one for affordable housing, including a $25,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers, a $40 billion fund to encourage local governments to build more affordable housing. They don't always get the attention they need. We want to give it attention as policy nerds. Why is that such an important policy for the public out there?
So we have a housing shortage all over this country. Why are prices so high? It's Econ 101. We need more housing. And do you know who we need more housing for? Almost everybody. We need housing for first-time home buyers. We need housing for people who rent apartments. We need housing for seniors. We need housing for people with disabilities. We need housing for singles. We need housing for people who are growing their families. We need housing in urban areas and suburban areas and rural areas, and we don't have enough. And we've known this now for decades, Jen. We sit by and the problem just gets worse and worse and worse. And so what Vice President Harris is proposing is something I'm also pushing out there. I'm 100% on this, is we need the federal government to be a good partner in building more housing locally. Federal government should not come in and tell communities you need to build this and you need to build that, but to say instead, if you'll alter your policies so that you're building more housing for those first-time home buyers, for those renters, for those seniors and people with disabilities, we'll do the part the federal government can do, and that is be a partner to your community. We can put up the money so that you can have a new elementary school or a new sewage system or revitalize your downtown. Spend it in the ways you need in your community if you will bring down the price of building houses and getting more housing supply. Her goal is 3 million new housing units all across this country. And think about it this way. For middle-class families, being able to get on that train to buy that first house, that is the #1 way that families build wealth and wealth that lasts. It's the #1 retirement plan in America, and it is the #1 way to be able to pass wealth on and help stabilize the next generation. And more housing is a way to be able to help close the racial wealth gap in America. It's a way to build more economic security for everybody in this country. It is a fabulous proposal.